need to do with their hair, whatever they need to do with their jewelry, their watches. For me, layers of clothes. You should, again, I mostly coach college. It's like, okay, and Berkeley gets cold at the end of practice, and they're going home in wet, sweaty, like you don't have a sweatshirt, you don't have anything, or change, a dry shirt. So, layer of clothes, court shoes, or conditioning shoes. They've done their own, if they have a unique warm-up that they have to do, you know, or for a particular injury or whatever, that they've done that, they're taped, they've gone to the training room, they've worked on their body language, any medicine or anything that they have to do. So hopefully that gives you a little broader list.
Yeah.
Okay, mentally, what did you come up with?
You know, for me, what's big is, you know, sports time is sports time, so clearing your mind from academics.
Yeah.
You know, for that period of time you're about to practice.
So either homework is handled,
Yeah.
or, you know, it's over here, you're not, you know, not reading right up until the mind, you know, you're trying to go
Or
on.
get a bad test or a bad day at school or whatnot, you know, you kind of want to shift from academics to sports time.
Right.
That's a big thing, so.
Okay.
A positive attitude.
The attitude,
ready
yeah.
to work.
And Coach had an idea that they used of telling the players, if you have these troubles, leave them in your bag and leave the bag outside the door and come into practice. You can go back later and pick it up.
Yeah. So it could be outside the door, outside that line that you've drawn if you're running out into the field. So yeah, and that they're aware of their self-talk, which we're going to get into a little bit, that they've got their ride handled, you know, whatever they know they're going to get home, they know who's going to pick them up. And then helping them even create some sort of transition ritual, which is like leaving the bag, but how do they, in Double Goal Coach 2, we talked about how the coach needs to have a transition ritual, you know, becoming coach to super coach. So I would have the kids do that. As they walk down from whatever building they were in from their last class, what's their transition ritual as they arrive, so when they arrive at the door of the office, that they have transitioned from, you know, student to athlete, and working with that. And then emotionally, what'd you come up with?
Well, one more mental, because this really worked well for us, big time this year. A glass wall at our practice facility. It was available to write down something and erase it with your hand. So we had just for today goals. So from Jim Lair's book on new mental training toughness.
Mental toughness.
New mental
for
toughness
sports,
training.
yeah.
And so they come in and they do that. So that would be a way for them to distract them from all the day's stuff. They had to come up with something that they're going to be really good at that day. Today, this is my goal today. If they can't write it on a board like we had, which we're really lucky to have this board, then like the whiteboard, if there's one there, you can wheel into practice, or coach have a clipboard, and they have to come up, players come up to you and say, my goal for today is, coach, watch this, just for today, I'm going to be the first one in to huddles. I'm going to beat everybody because I'm always the last one. Today, just for today, watch me, coach. I'm going to be the first one there every time, eyes bright and ready to go. And, you know, so, there'll be a number of goals they can write, but each guy could, maybe not even every person can come up and do their goal. Maybe it's every other day.
Right.
But to have that, it's amazing what clarity and what vision that brings to a player. And then all of a sudden now, they got to worry about that goal and they got to fulfill it because they promised it to the team. When they write it, it's a promise to the team and to themselves and their coaching staff that this is what they are going to do. And so people can remind them if they're not doing it, they get little reminders. Hey, you doing your goal for your just for today goal? I don't see it happening, man. You're the last one in the huddle. Oh, yeah. I was gonna do. So it turns out being a wonderful sort of a team thing as well. It's not just an individual. So
I like that.
Something to think about.
Today.
Yeah, just for today. You know, can 2 hours for 2 hours, can you just do this? You know?
Then emotionally, it's a little more of a challenging one, but what?
Shake off family and friend drama.
Yep.
You know, just being able to let that go. Just for today. You know?
So some ways that I've discovered over time for them to do that is sometimes, emotionally, so we had our courts, we had a big soccer track and field. I'm like, some of them, are really emotionally upset. If track and field wasn't there, I said, go out to the middle of the field, go down to those big bleachers and just cry, scream, pound. I don't care what you need to do, but get it out. So letting them have permission to do that. Some of it may just be, you need to sit and chat, and have a conversation. Or hook up with the player on the team that you know just makes you crack up. Change your emotional state by just laughing. Or some of them now would bring those little funny YouTube clips, you know, and they're watching them on their phone, they're just cracking up. So again, something like that can change the emotional state. Okay. So now where to go with this is what I want you to do as a coach. You've looked at the list that you've done. Yeah.
Real quickly, because I love music,
Mm-hmm.
and you didn't talk about that. When we threw music into warm-ups once or twice a week, changed the mood of practice completely.
Absolutely. And
They
that's
get to
also-
choose what the tape was. As long as it wasn't filled with 4 letters, but words.
Yeah.
But it was within reason. It changed the whole tenor of practice. So I'm a big believer in music as a way to get to your IPS.
Absolutely. And sometimes I would have the kids, so if this is a line of them leaving class and here in their individualized rituals, you know, because some of them might say, oh, I don't like the team tape or whatever, but so that becomes, I would say that's team time. This is individual time. So you need to make sure that you use your individual time and your individual music selections on your walk down here to get in a place where you're ready to be engaged in team time. So that's another way you can add it. So coach, it's important for you to have a get-ready routine. We talked a little bit about it in Double Gold Coach 2, but now I want you to just go back to that list that you just wrote, and I want you to circle, check, what are the things that you need to do as a coach to be physically, mentally, and emotionally ready at the start of practice? What's your list? We'll take a moment and do that. And then I want to show you a little bit how you can use this with your players. How many of you have young kids? Like still in grade school, or what do they call it? Grammar, primary. They're little. Anybody have, or have had kids when they're that little? All right, great. Usually went on a field trip, or they went on a camping trip, or they did something in the school, or Boy Scouts or whatever, would send them home with a checklist. Like you need to make sure you have your flashlight, and your sleeping bag, and your socks, and blah, blah, blah. That, if I'm working with younger kids, I would create a checklist for them with some basic, simple things that they can do and they can understand. And it would actually have little, I mean, I would do a little bit different than this, where it actually would have check boxes. Okay? And so, at the very beginning of your season, you give them a checklist. For you to have the greatest chance of having awesome practice and being ready, here's your checklist. Now, if your athletes are older, maybe in 8th grade, junior high, high school, you take them through just what we do. Have them talk about, okay, what does unpreparedness look like? You guys, because it bugs them as much if they're ready and a teammate's not. So you have that conversation. Then you have them create, almost like I talked about a transitional ritual, but you have them create their own individualized checklist that they share with you. So they know what they need to do, you know what they need to do, and they get in the habit and you check in. Just like the pilot, it's flown a million times, but he goes through that checklist every time. At least I hope he does. Okay? So there's 3 tools that we covered for off the court to try to get people to stay on that high road. A goal around motivation. We talked about visualization and seeing themselves up there. And then we talked about get ready for practice. All right, so what I'd like to do now is transition into off the field tool, on the field, off the field. That's a mistake. That's right. We found that before. So, self-talk. When you're on the high road, self-talk, there's a particular way that athletes will talk to themselves. And what I want you to do right now is I want you to partner up and share a common negative self-talk expression that you're aware that your kids say. And try to keep it clean. I don't want any 4 other words or anything. Just clean that up. But what is it that you hear your kids say, or you know they're thinking, or you hear they mumble it? Share a couple of those negative self-talk comments that you hear kids say.
I can't do that. That's the most common one. I can't kick with my left foot. I can't move this way or that way. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't look like there was any struggle coming up with the negative. So it's